That note, WinCam, if you are ready, we will convene this meeting at 7 o'clock. I will entertain a motion to call for a hearing on a public hearing on PB 26-2 for 1016 Mount Vernon Street for special permit and site plan review.
So
So
moved.
moved.
Second.
As we know from communication, the applicant has asked for a continuance on this. He's not prepared for tonight, and so I will entertain a motion to continue this hearing to August 8th. I'm sorry, August 4th.
So moved.
Second.
Second. All those in favor? Aye.
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 Okay, moving along, first item of business is a modification of an approved definitive subdivision at Rocky Ledge Terrace. This concerns the application of Rocky Ledge Terrace LLC requesting an approval of a modification to the approved definitive subdivision for Rocky Ledge Terrace pursuant to the Winchester Planning Board rules and regulations governing the subdivision of land and the Massachusetts Subdivision Control Law. The proposed modifications include reducing the number of new lots from 3 to 2 and redesigning the roadway. Our votes, our consideration here is determine whether or not this requested change is major or minor. And my understanding, if we determine that it's minor, then um, oh wait a minute, I had my note here a second ago. Excuse me. Uh,
Hey, Jack, while you're pulling that up, I just want to take a second. I'm going to formally recuse from this topic. Volney Capital, which is my family's company, was the original applicant that pursued this permitting back in 22. We did sell the project and haven't had any interest in it since 2023, either financially or operationally. So I don't think by state law I technically have to recuse, but out of an abundance of caution and just to completely avoid even the appearance of a conflict, I am going to formally recuse.
Thank you. Um, Taylor can probably explicate on this a bit, but as his note explained to us, a move from the motion from the planning board to determine that the proposed modification is a minor change um, would result in let me understand this. The determination is limited to establishing the review procedure and does not approve the revised plan. The applicant would then submit all revised plans, calculations, and supporting documents required by the planning board and staff before the board considers approval of the modification. And Taylor, my understanding is that that would be something that staff could handle. It wouldn't require action by the board. Is that, am I understanding that correctly?
That is correct.
So I assume everyone's had a chance to study this modification. If you have any thoughts or comments on it.
Yeah, so I think the first meeting that I had on the planning board was when we approved this. So I have a little background on it, but not a ton. There, I think it's all summarized in Taylor's staff report, but essentially there that we approved a three lot project with a cul-de-sac, and it looks like they're transitioning from a cul-de-sac to a hammerhead turnaround. The topography of this area is pretty extreme. I mean, it's called Rocky Ledge for a great reason. And I would love to hear, I always like the background, the story, sort of what's going on that made them switch from a three parcel area to a two. Um, I don't think there's anything that would sort of like push me to require it to be a significant or a major adjustment to the application. If you look through the subdivision section, 5.2 through 5.5, which we would have to consider it under if we decided that it was a major change, there's not, the environmental considerations we took very seriously at the time. The topography again is challenging, so you have to think a lot about not just the drainage for the sewage systems and the water that's going through the houses, but also sort of like what is the runoff going to be for the neighbors that are downstream. I think Cambridge Street tends to flood or tended to flood at the time. I don't know if there have been adjustments. And then we spent a lot of time thinking about the fact that we had to give a waiver for two entry points to the subdivision. And the reason for that was because to get it to sort of connect to Socrates, you'd be creating kind of a really difficult road situation, and you'd have to get there by excavating quite a bit of land. And so I guess the only questions that I would personally have about this that would be satisfied if we worked our way through section 5 would be about what the impact, the drainage was all under, of course, under the ground, and it was embedded. We can see it in the plans that they gave us. It's sort of like embedded in the cul-de-sac. And so it says sewer lines to be abandoned. Like, I have no technical expertise on it, but I would want to make sure that that was covered. And then the turning radius for a hammerhead and the experience of turning around a hammerhead and plowing a hammerhead and all of those things are different. And it will be a private road that will have to be maintained by the neighbors. So we'll want to be really careful about making sure that the, HOA docs protect the residents from, being able to access the road during snow emergencies. Those sorts of considerations when the format of the access point changes. But again, that's sort of like an engineering problem. So there's sort of no way, there's nothing in this, they're not close to a waterway. They're not changing environmental concerns. I think it looks like they're doing less to the topography, so that may actually be a bit more beneficial. I think they're creating a bit more green space and impervious area, which should help with that question. So for me, unless there's something in the applicant's kind of story around it, it seems like there's not a ton to be learned from working our way through the requirements of the major modification that won't be satisfied by the requirements of the project to get approved for the final release of the subdivision.
Yeah, that I would agree with that observation. By what I read in this, the fire department has signed off on this hammerhead scheme, which is the major concern for anybody that's going to buy a house up there. I'm also pleased to know that there's going to be considerably less impervious surface area, which is good for the neighborhood. Um, there was somebody who had his hand up there a minute ago and he disappeared. Brian, go ahead.
I agree with everything that Carrie just said, remarkably enough. The only thing I feel like we would lose from not doing 5.2 to 5.5 is the environmental impact and community impact analysis by requirement. But I think my understanding is that we're going to at least have that amended to if there is any change in the draft environmental or community impact analysis. It doesn't feel like we're losing that by calling it a minor modification. So I just want to make sure we don't lose anything that that we would have. I just don't know that we need to make them go through the motions of making this like a brand new submission practically, which would be a major submission when so many of the things are already worked out before. So I tend to agree with everything Carrie just said.
Yeah, well said. Well said. Um, Before I go to the member of the public who has disappeared again, Mr. DeVito, I wanted to see if John had anything else to add.
No, I agree. I think this is, we're not, as I understand it, we're not giving up the standards. I think, pretty exhaustively went through this at 3 lots. At 2, this is less, as everyone said, this is less impact, it's less development. I don't think from the standpoint of the impact on the town or the neighbors. This is less. I don't think this is a major change.
And we're before HOA docs, right? This is still owned by a single owner. These lots have not been sold yet.
I think one lot has been sold. Is that right, Taylor?
Steele can clarify that if you give him the opportunity to.
Yes, Mr. DeVito, you were there and now you're gone.
Yeah,
You have the floor, so to speak.
So I was trying to figure out the hand raising button. So I'm glad I'm here. Hey, good evening, everyone. I appreciate the opportunity to come and present. I do own Rocky Ledge Terrace property. I'm here on behalf of my family. I do want to thank you all for taking the time out of your night to covering this, and totally understand that this is very much procedural, whether it's a minor or major change. I figure maybe a little background would be helpful as far as like just kind of helping everyone understand why we're here.
Thank you. That's good.
Yeah, we bought this lot about 3 years ago. It was fully entitled, and unfortunately, it stalled, pretty quickly, and it took EverSource over 2 years to actually install the utilities, which was tough. So we've been essentially carrying these 3 lots, and over that period of time, our family's grown to 5 children. So we know I think we were giving up a third lot, and um, and the intent here was that that one lot is going to a close friend of mine. So he's committed to do it. However, it has not been actually deeded yet, because we're just finishing off just some final items in sight. And then we're going to sell one lot and then build a home. And then as we started to review it, I think yard space and green space is really important to us. Certainly, like walking away from value is a difficult decision, but this is clearly not a really development play here. As we're here, we want to do this the right way. Just rough math, if it's helpful at all, we do expect to cut the paved turnaround by roughly 75%. So it's almost 14,500 square feet to roughly 3,500 square feet of actual paved area. So hopefully, that's looked at as positive. And then, we're fortunate enough to sit with the building commissioner and fire department. They seem very comfortable with the Hammerhead concept, and we were able to work through that, which is great. Carlton Quinn is on as well, who's with Allen and Major, is helping us on the engineering side. Um, but yeah, no, I appreciate the opportunity. I think the intent here is really to build on a site that has the right topography, create more green space, and ideally also something that's a bit less visible as well from Route 3. And I know that came up as well when we were on some of these calls on the original approvals. So I'm happy to take questions, and you know appreciate the board's consideration.
Thank you. Does anybody have any questions? Brian, go ahead.
Hi, Mr. DeVito. I just wanted to, first of all, thank you for coming tonight and confirm that you would anticipate retaining ownership of this entire lot until this process is done. That is, we'd have to vote this, then we actually have to go into a public hearing and actually then discuss that. And it becomes more complicated if multiple people own this, and that's fine, but I just was curious what your intent was, whether it would suddenly have multiple owners or if you would remain the only owner until that was completed.
We'll be the only owner until that's completed.
Excellent. Thank you.
Thanks, Brian.
Anything else? If not, I would entertain a motion finding that this is a minor modification.
Do we need to, Taylor listed we touched on most of them, but he listed a collection of documents that we should make sure remain in place. Do we need to name those, or
You mean in the motion?
in the staff report? Hold on, I have too many things open right now. In the staff report, he mentioned what?
I think it's the last page in the packet, 149.
Do we need to name those, or can we just make a motion to make it a minor change and trust that we'll get them?
Taylor, any counsel?
You could say, as I mean, that those are going to be, we're going to work with Steele and his team to make sure that they're done. But if you want to add it into the motion, you can just say as referred to in the staff report.
Okay, great. So I would make a motion that these adjustments to the subdivision at Rocky Ledge could be considered a minor modification with the expectation that the requirements outlined in the staff report be fulfilled.
Is there a second?
Second.
I have a
Um,
question
Go ahead.
for Taylor, actually. Taylor, do you need the motion that you proposed, or is
No.
that motion? Okay, perfect. Because that was a lengthier motion. I just wanted to make sure there wasn't anything in there that you needed.
I'll take a vote. Brian,
Aye.
John,
Aye.
Carrie,
Aye.
and I'm also an aye, and there was one abstention. So that we move forward with that. And thank you, Mr. DeVito, for
Thank you
being
all
here
for your
tonight.
time.
You
Thank you.
betcha. Other business, additional business unknown to the board at the time of the posting of this agenda. Does anybody have anything? Taylor, do you have anything?
Did I happen to mention anything in our meeting today? I
Let
don't
me
remember.
check my notes. uh,
I don't think so.
um,
We were going to talk about my performance review. We have a our this meeting turned into a short meeting. Our meeting on the 4th has turned into a long meeting.
right. I was going to mention
Um,
that. Yeah, the 4th looks like we have the final hearing on the bylaw changes. We will presumably hear from the applicant on the 1016 Mount Vernon Street, which we continued to the 4th. We may be hearing from the lawyer for the applicant for 114 Church Street, who's asking for a change of zoning from is it SCI to multifamily? Do I have that right?
SCI to RB20.
RB20, thank you. We may briefly address the question of 972 Main Street, although we might do that tonight. I don't know. We may address 910 Main Street, but it's not likely. I don't know that the peer report will be ready in time for the applicant to respond appropriately. And then, as you mentioned, we will discuss Taylor's performance review on that night. So that's a pretty full agenda. Everybody take a nap that afternoon.
I think we also have a ZBA review, the ZBA to
Two,
look
that's right.
two of
Good,
them.
thank you. Thank you. So that'll be fun. So we'll make up for tonight's short meeting.
It doesn't work that way at all.
Anybody else have any other business? I think who was it that the meeting would be in by 7:30, and if they
I failed.
Taken
Sorry.
a dollar. Should have bet a dollar.
who bet against him? You could filibuster it till 7:31.
So obviously not for August 4th because it's going to be kind of a barn burner and I wasn't ready for tonight, but I'm working my way through what steps we would want to take for light industrial. So if we have a meeting after, if we have a second meeting in August, which I think is always touch and go, I would take like 10 minutes to run through a ill-formed list that will be in better shape by whenever that is. The 4th wouldn't be appropriate because it's too long. Yeah, but I'm working on it.
Good, thank you. Anything else? I know we've got minutes to approve tonight. I trust everyone looked at them. I know I did and Brian did.
I like that. I'm gonna try and post your adjustments. They're good enough.
I would entertain a motion to approve the minutes for June 16th and July 7th.
So moved.
Second.
Second there. All those in favor? Aye.
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 Anything further? Who wants to meet me? Who wants to meet me at Lucia's for it stopped raining.
Did it stop finally?
Yeah.
I think it's supposed to kind of rain all night, isn't it?
Yeah. Okay, never mind. Let's hold that one. Hold that thought. So, hearing no other business, I will entertain a motion for adjournment.
So moved.
Second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, WinCam.
Jack, shortest meeting I've ever seen on the
Ever.
planning board.
I can't take credit for it.
I want next week's to be just as short in 2 weeks. I want it to be same time.
Ah.
No
Treat
speeches.
it like an auctioneer, Jack. Start practicing.
19 minutes, guys. Good work.
Going, gone. All right. Good night, everybody. Thank you.
Yeah.